So, lovely midsummer's evening up here in bonny Scotland, and I'm standing in front of a direction sign. Well, that's on brand, isn't it? But it's not a good sign because it's 20 years out of date. In 1999, the A74 northwards was actually upgraded to a motorway, and the motorway southwards remained because that was done before. There's a long history of the A74M and why it's called that, and why this is one of the weirdest things on the British motorway network. Now, before it goes dark, shall we go and have an explore and find out what's going on? I'll give you a very quick history lesson. So, in the 1960s, the A74 from Glasgow to Carlisle was gradually upgraded to a dual carriageway. Now, at the time, this was deemed to be brilliant. This was a futuristic road, apparently. That didn't really last. By the late 80s, the A74 was a bit of a national embarrassment, and it became a bit of a political potato. Now, you've got to remember, Scotland and England have not always necessarily seen eye to eye on things. And in 1987, the Conservative government, already rather unpopular north of the border, decided to try and throw a sweetener to the Scottish electorate. And they promised to extend the M6 from Carlisle to Glasgow. So this was an election move and the commitment was made, but unusually for British highway planning, the motorway was built. And with the exception of one little bit which took a lot longer to complete because that was in England, the plan to make this the M6, we're not quite sure why it didn't happen, whether it was political or economic or whatever, but all the signs down here say M6 and have been covered over. There's always somebody with a horn, isn't there? Underneath that says M6. It'll never be M6 though. It'll always be this. You go M6, M6 toll, M6, A74M, M74. Quite how anybody not familiar with the British road network navigates this mess, because it's a straight line but it's got 4 different numbers. Anyway, let's move on. This is one of the better examples on the southern half where you can work out how wide the dual carriageway used to be, and the answer is not very. It's not actually that far from where the southbound carriageway was, so you get an impression of how narrow and twisty and old the A74 was. I'm glad it still survives actually. That's a nice little reminder. The cover plate on this sign had actually come off, so you can see this sign somehow it's still holding on, but you can see how worn it is. These signs are a bit weathered, but on this one you can see quite clearly there that says M6. Why go to the expense of doing these numbers and then covering them up? I don't understand what the thought process was. I don't understand it at all. Politics, there's no other explanation, it's politics, and politics and highways, they do not mix. Do not mix the two. Chalk and cheese, don't do it. Anyway, I want to go and show you something a little bit odd, which you don't normally get with motorways. Quite some heavy engineering as well. This subway, I only know about this because when you come up here in the dark, it lights up. So it's actually obvious that it's here, but I don't know where it goes to. I might have a little quick nosy before it goes pitch black, because I don't want to be stuck out in the middle of nowhere in the dark. Also, it wasn't just the dual carriageway that was upgraded in the 90s. That transmission line, that too was upgraded. So this entire corridor became like a major infrastructure project, and it was all part of that political desire to demonstrate that England and Scotland were linked and unionism was the way forward. Now, with recent political events in the United Kingdom, that feels like a long time ago, but I love it in Scotland. And I mean, just look at it, it's magnificent. Even this is pretty, and it's a motorway in the middle of nowhere, but it's pretty. There's more to this island than pettiness. Just put that out there. Oh, that's a nice echo. Very acoustic. There's a lot of stairs. I don't know where that goes. It's going dark. But I think we can safely say that we have found some evidence that this was meant to be the M6. There's still a little bit more. I'm hoping the light holds out. Let's go see. There's another sign that's actually lost a cover plate and it says M6. So what I'm guessing is that 25-year-old cover plate vinyl, it does get weak, it gets brittle. So you can see that one's not too bad, it's probably been shielded by the trees, but this one, which is out in the open, that's fallen off. Also, can we take a minute to appreciate how beautiful it is around here? But because it's June and it's Scotland, the midges! I'm getting eaten alive here. I'm gonna get out of the way. I'm gonna just be a skeleton by the end of this video. You can't see it from here very well, but just over there, those grey buildings, if you can make them out in the background, that is the checkpoint on the southbound carriageway. The exit sign from that still says M6 South. There should hopefully be a picture in my photo archive, and if there is, you can see it now. What you can also make out here is the remains of an edge line. So this cycle track was actually the northbound carriageway here. I don't think it gets any more obvious than this though, does it? This is quite clearly an old dual carriageway. Now, because of the importance the A74 played in my becoming a road geek, I think we need to do a little bit more in-depth analysis of this road, but that's going to take a full day. So if you're interested in seeing that, why don't you subscribe to my channel, and then later this summer you can admire what's left of what I think is the Mother Road. And I think on that beautiful sunset behind us, I'm gonna go. Some links to other videos popping up now. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.